The air in the throne room was thick with the scent of alien flora, a mix of sweet nectar and metallic undertones. The walls pulsed faintly with bioluminescent veins, casting an eerie glow over the towering figure of Queen Zynara. Her iridescent exoskeleton shimmered like liquid obsidian, and her multifaceted eyes reflected the dim light like fractured stars. She was the ruler of the Kryll Empire, a species of insectoid aliens who had conquered countless worlds. And before her stood Captain Elias Grant, a human, a species she considered weak, insignificant, and unworthy of her attention. "You dare ask for an alliance?" Queen Zynara's voice was a low, resonant hum that reverberated through the chamber. Her mandibles clicked in disdain as she leaned forward on her throne, her 4 arms folded across her chest. "Your kind is primitive, Captain Grant. You have nothing to offer the Kryll Empire." Elias clenched his fists, his jaw tightening. He had spent months navigating the treacherous politics of the galaxy to secure this meeting. The Kryll were the most powerful species in the known universe, and their alliance could mean the difference between survival and extinction for humanity. But the Queen's rejection stung more than he cared to admit. "Your Majesty," Elias began, his voice steady despite the tension in the room. "Humanity may not have your advanced technology or your vast armies, but we have something you lack: ingenuity. We adapt, we survive, and we can help you defeat the Vorax." The mention of the Vorax, a rival species that had been waging war against the Kryll for centuries, caused the Queen's antennae to twitch. Her eyes narrowed, and for a moment, Elias thought he saw a flicker of interest. But it was gone as quickly as it appeared. "Your words are meaningless," she hissed. "The Vorax are a threat even to us. What could a single human possibly do?" Elias took a deep breath. "Give me a chance to prove myself. Let me show you what humanity is capable of." The Queen regarded him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then, with a dismissive wave of her hand, she said, "Very well. You will accompany Commander Krylax on a mission to retrieve a stolen artifact from the Vorax. If you survive, I will consider your proposal. But if you fail, your life is forfeit." Elias nodded, his heart pounding. This was his chance. His only chance to prove humanity's worth. He would not waste it. The mission was a suicide run. The artifact, a powerful energy core capable of fueling an entire fleet, was hidden deep within a Vorax stronghold on the desolate moon of Zyrus 9. The Kryll had attempted to retrieve it multiple times, but each mission had ended in failure. The Vorax were relentless, their soldiers genetically engineered for combat and their defenses impenetrable. As Elias suited up in the Kryll's advanced armor, a sleek black exoskeleton that enhanced his strength and speed, Commander Krylax approached him. The Kryll warrior was a towering figure, his chitinous armor gleaming in the dim light of the ship's hangar. His voice was a deep growl as he spoke. "Do not slow us down, human," Krylax warned. "If you become a liability, I will not hesitate to leave you behind." Elias met the commander's gaze, his determination unwavering. "I won't slow you down, but don't underestimate me." Krylax snorted, a sound that resembled the grinding of gears, and turned away. The rest of the Kryll squad, 8 elite warriors, followed him onto the dropship, their movements precise and mechanical. Elias took a deep breath and followed, his mind racing with strategies and contingencies. The dropship descended through Zyrus 9's atmosphere, the turbulence shaking the vessel violently. The moon's surface was a barren wasteland, dotted with jagged rock formations and craters. In the distance, the Vorax stronghold loomed like a monstrous hive, its spires piercing the sky. As the ship touched down, the squad moved quickly and silently, their training evident in every step. Elias stayed close, his senses on high alert. The Kryll's advanced technology gave him a tactical advantage, but he knew that survival would depend on his wits as much as his gear. The first sign of trouble came when they reached the outer perimeter of the stronghold. A Vorax patrol, armed with plasma rifles and clad in heavy armor, emerged from the shadows. The Kryll squad engaged immediately, their movements a blur of precision and lethality. Elias fought alongside them, his human reflexes augmented by the exoskeleton. He took down 2 Vorax soldiers with well-placed shots from his energy rifle, his heart pounding with adrenaline. But the real challenge came when they breached the stronghold's inner sanctum. The artifact was guarded by a massive Vorax war machine, a towering behemoth of metal and flesh. Its glowing red eyes locked onto the squad, and it unleashed a barrage of energy blasts that forced them to scatter. Kryll barked orders, directing his warriors to flank the machine. But the Vorax's defenses were too strong, and the Kryll's attacks barely scratched its armor. Elias watched as one of the warriors was crushed beneath the machine's massive claw, his exoskeleton crumpling like paper. Desperation set in. The Kryll were losing, and Elias knew that if they failed, humanity's chance at an alliance would be lost forever. He scanned the room, his mind racing. Then he saw it, a weak point in the machine's armor, a small vent near its core. Kryll! Elias shouted over the din of battle. I need a diversion. The commander hesitated for a moment, then nodded. He and the remaining warriors launched a coordinated assault, drawing the machine's attention. Elias seized the opportunity, sprinting toward the machine with all the speed his exoskeleton could muster. He leaped onto its back, clinging to the jagged metal as it thrashed wildly. With a grunt of effort, Elias jammed his energy rifle into the vent and fired. The machine shuddered violently, its core overloading in a brilliant explosion of light and heat. Elias was thrown clear, his body slamming into the wall with bone-jarring force. He groaned, his vision swimming, but he forced himself to his feet. The machine was destroyed, its remains smoldering on the ground. The artifact, now unguarded, glowed faintly in the center of the room. Kryll approached Elias, his expression unreadable. You saved us, the commander said, his voice tinged with disbelief. Elias managed a weak smile. I told you not to underestimate me. When they returned to the Kryll homeworld, Queen Zynara awaited them in the throne room. Her eyes narrowed as she surveyed the squad, noting their injuries and the absence of several warriors. But when Kryll presented the artifact, her expression shifted. The human did this, she asked, her voice low. Kryll nodded. Without him we would have failed. He is formidable. The queen turned her gaze to Elias, who stood tall despite his injuries. For a long moment she said nothing. Then with a slow nod she spoke.